inside the Iroquois Park Sports Centre in Whitby, Ontario, home of the Ontario Lacrosse Festival, which has just gotten underway and will be underway for the next 10 days. But tonight we have a playoff Major Series Lacrosse game between the Peterborough Lakers and the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club. Peterborough holding a 1-0 series lead. Welcome inside the broadcast booth. Jack Moore alongside Scott Arnold, who's on loan from Your TV Peterborough and the Lakers and Peterborough Pete's broadcast as well. Scott, thanks so much for joining us. You called the game last night in Peterborough, and the Lakers came away with a 12-9 victory. What was the big difference in the contest?
It was a strange game. It started off, there was the big flash flood in Peterborough, so not all the fans made it. We didn't know if there was going to be a game or not. They were discussing it for a while before the game, and then they decided, we're going to go, and then right off the hop, 59 seconds into the opening period, Brooklyn got on the board. Looked like they might go on a bit of a run, and then the Lakers, 4 unanswered goals after that, and that was the difference. Brooklyn had to play catch-up the rest of the way. They ended up outscoring Peterborough in the third period, 4-2. 3 shorthanded goals for Brooklyn down the stretch as well, but they just ran out of time and couldn't get into that one. 12-9, as you said, was the final, but a good start for both teams, setting the tone.
Like you mentioned there, it was 1-0 Brooklyn early on, and then the Peterborough Lakers took a 6-2 lead out of that first period, and sometimes that felt like the way things went for Brooklyn in the regular season. They might have been real good off the jump, but then as the first period started to wear on, especially against Peterborough and Six Nations, those teams with high skill and the ability to move the ball around a little bit more were able to take over for the remainder of the opening 20 minutes. And ultimately, Jason Crosby, the head coach of the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club, said that was the turning point for Brooklyn in that contest. You see there, Eli McLaughlin, 4 goals, 2 assists. How well did he play last night?
Yeah, Eli McLaughlin making his Peterborough Lakers debut. He came from the WLA, from the Burnaby Lakers, so he just switched Lakers uniforms, but he stepped up in a big way, and he looked very good in that Lakers uni.
Before we get to starting goalies and the opening face-off, let's take you down to the floor and our national anthem.
556 shots. Most in the league and a goal against average of 10.32 per game with a save percentage of 0.77. These stats are also good for first overall, like goals and played not many games or more. Ryan also notched 9 assists. That's the one goalie in the league. Please congratulate Ryan Hutchcraft on the 2023 Major Series Lacrosse Defensive Player of the Year.
National anthem over, and we are getting you set for the opening face-off. Let's take a look at tonight's starting goaltender, Scott.
Yeah, the Lakers doing what they did all season long, rotating goalies. Landon Kells had to start last night. Drew Hutchison between the pipes for Peterborough on this night. Not a bad problem to have when you don't know who your number one goalie is. Both guys can go at any given night. And then in the mix somewhere, he's in the middle of the pile. That's Riley Hutchcraft. He was the Defensive Player of the Year. He was just honored. Commissioner Lynn Withers in attendance, presenting him with that Defensive Player of the Year award. Not the Goaltender of the Year. That went to Six Nations Chiefs Warren Hill, but the Defensive Player of the Year, it's never gone to a goalie before that I can remember.
Well, he takes home that honor this year, and like they said before the start of this one, he also notched 9 assists on this season, and looked like it was going to be him and Nick DeMood splitting time this year like Peterborough does, but DeMood moved on to another team, so Riley Hutchcraft took over as the team's #1 goaltender as we are underway here at the Iroquois Park Sports Center, and it is Jake Withers winning the opening faceoff. And last game of the regular season, he won plenty of them here at the Iroquois Park Sports Center, pad #1. So Peterborough gets the first offensive possession of the game, and they go over and back, so Brooklyn will take over.
And you mentioned Jake Withers. Keep an eye on him all night. He's the face-off specialist, but he's also a great defensive player as well. He's not just about face-offs. He's so well-rounded.
Liam Osborne, who had a good game 1, moving it around in the offensive zone, a goal and 3 assists. He fires a shot that gets deflected wide. Brooklyn finds the rebound. That shot gets through. They score 1-0 Brooklyn. Connor Kiernan gets on the board first. We have some pushing and shoving after the fact. This is the 4th consecutive meeting between these two teams, so you expect some bad blood. We have at least one guy going to the penalty box, but it's Brooklyn getting on the board first.
Deja vu from last night with Brooklyn scoring a goal in the opening minute. This one was even faster. Last night took 59 seconds. Tonight, 34 seconds, and it's Connor Kiernan getting things going. He had a solid game last night. 2 goals and 2 assists, and he gets the scoring going on this Friday night.
Robert Hope getting the penalty at the end of the play, so not only does Brooklyn get the opening goal of the game, they also get a power play, their first of the game. To begin is Kyle Waters, who is held off the score sheet in game #1, and him and Tanner Cook combining for just 2 assists. You need a little bit more from the 2 big guys. Quick ball movement, and that shot misses wide from Luke Pilcher, who had 2 goals in game 1. Wesley, his pass off for Cook, that gets deflected. Waters' shot gets stopped by Hutchinson, and he corrals the rebound, so a good stop on the opening possession of this power play by the Peterborough Lakers. Chad Tutton up the floor, and Holden Katoni. 3 goals and an assist in game #1. Major Series Lacrosse leader in goals, assists, and points down the stretch of the season. Had a phenomenal regular season as that shot misses wide, kept in by Courier. His pass in for Katoni, the backhanded shot misses the net. Shot clock violation, but on the penalty kill, does a good job at killing off 30 seconds there, Scott.
Yeah, and you mentioned Holden Katoni and how good he did, leading in all offensive categories, goals, assists, and points. And just to put that in perspective, how good that is, the last time a player did that in this league was John Tavares back in 2008.
Well, you know, Peterborough and Six Nations look at each other all season long as that Wesley shot gets stopped by Hutchinson, and he stretches the floor for Withers. Peterborough and Six Nations battling for that top spot, want to be seen as the top team in the league. Of course, Peterborough has the success in championships over the last few years over Six Nations. Holden Katoni doing that for the first time since the Six Nations coach, who brought in Lyle Thompson this year. And when you have a former NLL MVP for Six Nations who comes in, and many see him as one of the top lacrosse players in the world, he does as well as he does this regular season. To have that stat's even better for you if you're Holden Katoni.
And the man we mentioned, John Tavares, who did that in 2008, he, of course, is the head coach of Six Nations right now. So all the connections come full circle.
Kyle Waters, so we're back to 5-on-5. That gets stopped by Hutchinson. He'll trap it down, so Peterborough able to kill off the first Brooklyn power play of the game.
And that's big. Special teams were huge last night. The Lakers had 5 power play goals, 2 shorthanded. Brooklyn had 3 shorties and 1 power play goal, so more than half the goals last night on special teams.
Now stepping into the crease and firing a shot was Mike Robinson. That gets stopped by Drew Hutchinson. So Riley Hutchcraft. So he's been up to the task early on, but Brooklyn getting the bulk of offensive possessions with the early power play. Just over 3 minutes gone in period #1. Wesley off to the boards. Pilcher fires it off the far boards, bounces in front of Drew Hutchinson. He knocks it down, and Peterborough will turn back up the floor. career. Works this one off to Holden Catoni, getting the screen from Eli McLaughlin. Catoni steps in, he scores! Holden Catoni ties us at 1. 3 minutes, 44 seconds into the first period.
Well, you mentioned Holden Catoni and the great offensive year he had in the regular season. Well, that's continuing over into this postseason as he picks up his 4th goal in just the 2 games so far. And the Lakers get on the board, answering back 3.5 minutes after that opening Brooklyn goal. And that is why Holden Catoni has had the success this season. You can see why. Just so strong, such a good shot. Can score from outside or inside.
Gets that great screen from Eli McLaughlin. Creates that threat of the pass to a guy who had 4 goals last night. Holden Catoni had 3 of his own as Chad Tutton stepped into the crease, so Brooklyn will take over and go the other way in transition. Carter McKenzie quickly up the floor as Kyle Waters picks up. Wesley back to Waters. Now Brady Kiernan gets the screen from Cook into the corner for Wesley. Wesley fires. That gets stopped by Hutchinson. And away goes Peterborough in transition. Colton Armstrong with some speed and a good stick by Wesley. Armstrong finds it and scores! Colton Armstrong in transition gives Peterborough their first lead of the night. 4 minutes, 25 seconds in.
One of the newer members of the Peterborough Lakers. He belonged to the Coburg Kodiaks until a few weeks ago. But then the Lakers grabbed the hometown product, welcomed him home, and he has looked great ever since. And you can see right here, a good shot. Brooklyn was going to get an illegal substitution penalty. That's why the referee's arm was up, and that's why the defender was able to get out there so quick. But Colton Armstrong doing a great heads-up play. As soon as he realized Peterborough had that ball, he just took off. Nice transition goal.
Thomas Whitty finds the loose ball off the face-off win, and Peterborough holding their first lead of the night. So much like we saw in game number 1. And that was a violation against Peterborough. They didn't get the ball over center floor quickly enough, so Brooklyn will take over. Brooklyn got the first goal, like you mentioned, in the opening minute of the game, and then Peterborough responds with 2 more. Hutchinson makes the save and a bouncing ball in front. As Pilcher couldn't find it, steps into the crease, and Peterborough takes it, but it's going to be Thomas Whitty going to the penalty box for a shot taken at Luke Pilcher after the whistle. And Brooklyn's going to their second power play of the game.
And Thomas Whitty getting a shot in the lineup and just gets a little over aggressive. He thought it was just a lacrosse play, the way he reacted and looked at the referee after, but there's the stick going up high. Nice little sell as well. Definitely a high stick, but Pilcher doing a great job selling that as you see the reaction from Whitty's face.
Couldn't believe it. He thought they got the defensive stop. Tanner Cook works this one off. Kiernan's shot gets stopped, picked up by Pace. Alex Pace evades the check from Waters and just gets over center floor in time. He'll turn things back and be watched by Jordy Jones-Smith. Now it's Tutton against Liam Osborne, who knocks it free. Tutton can't re-scoop it, and that's over and back against Peterborough as Tutton sends it back down the floor. Brooklyn's bench wanted a call. They won't get one, and Brooklyn will take over. 80 seconds to go in the power play for Brooklyn. Down 2-1 to the Peterborough Lakers. Kyle Waters off to Wesley. Back to Waters. Gets a screen from Kiernan. Waters steps in. Hutchinson makes the save. Rebound goes into the corner. Brooklyn regains it and gets a fresh shot clock. Tanner Cook back up top to Wesley. Now off to Kiernan. Waters in front. Can't corral it. And Peterborough traps it down with Robert Hope right in front of his own net. Gilray over center floor and works with some speed down the floor. He scores! Matt Gilray gets his second of the postseason. This one a shorthanded marker and gives Peterborough a 3-1 lead.
Well, that's vintage Matt Gilray right there. Sees a little bit of a lane, enough of an opening that he knows with his speed, he can get through there uncontested, no problem. You see him go from almost a standstill position to pretty much full speed. He's got those long legs, the long reach. And when he's all alone in front of the net like that, usually he finds the back of it.
So 3-1 Lakers. Brooklyn still on the power play here for another 35 seconds. And Jack Travassos finds the loose ball, keeping it away from Colton Armstrong. Brady Kiernan off to Tanner Cook. Cook off to Waters. Gets it back from Connor Kiernan. Cook. Brady Kiernan. Back to Cook. Waters. Cook fires. That one missed the net. And that's going to be over and back against Brooklyn. So it's Peterborough ball. Just 6 seconds left in the power play. So Peterborough's penalty kill is about to go 2 for 2 on the night.
Good defense on both kills from the Lakers, not allowing Brooklyn to get in tight.
So we are back to 5-on-5. Peterborough kills off the 2 power plays for Peterborough. And now that pass goes off to Thomas Hogarth. Now a shot off the post, and Hutchcraft able to corral it in his equipment and work it up the floor. So a big stop there from Riley Hutchcraft to keep it a 2-goal game. Now Kyle Waters off to Cook. Brady Kiernan steps in, looking for the pass to Waters, being checked by Gilray. Cook with 7 seconds off to Kiernan. He scores! Brady Kiernan off the pass from Tanner Cook brings Brooklyn back within 1 on the nice give and go at the end of the shot clock.
That stops the 3-goal unanswered run from the Lakers, and it's Tanner Cook. What an unbelievable pass. He's got a man draped all over him, one hand on his stick, and he's able to find Kiernan cutting through the middle. And then Kiernan, with a man all over him, is able to get the goal. Just a nice goal all around, starting with Cook.
Peterborough takes it off the ensuing faceoff. Brooklyn able to stop that 3-goal run by Peterborough, and Tate Katoni will take over. Katoni being watched by Jake Stevens. Now Robinson fires. That gets stopped by Hutchcraft. And the rebound gets picked up by Jake Stevens. Trying to bring it up the floor himself. Will shovel it off to Adam Perroni, the captain of the Brooklyn Merchants Senior B team. Just lost out of the playoffs in the past week, so now playing with Brooklyn on a more regular basis through the playoffs. A big piece in the defensive in transition game as Cook gets stopped by Hutchinson, and Peterborough will take over again. Colton Armstrong off to Tate Katoni, stepping away from Ben McDonald. Thomas Hogarth back to Holden Katoni. Tate Katoni in the corner, being checked by Mike Byrne. Katoni down low. That quick shot attempt by Courier, unable to find it, and Travassos comes away in transition. Byrne finds it in the corner and sets up. 20 seconds to shoot here for Brooklyn. Liam Osborne off to Kyle Waters. Pilcher fresh off the bench as Waters' shot gets blocked. Kyle Waters finds it on the boards and regroups for Brooklyn. Quick passing, but they can't get it to work, and that's over and back against Brooklyn. Eli McLaughlin will start on the end boards here for Peterborough in the corner. Jordy Jones-Smith gets set defensively here for Brooklyn. Perroni on the switch watching McLaughlin. Hogarth steps in. Hutchcraft makes the save and traps it in between that left leg and the floor.
Bit of a twister shot from Hogarth as he put it over his shoulder. It came from a different angle. Tough save, made look easy though.
Wesley stepping away from Hope. His shot, Hutchinson makes the save, and the rebound picked up by the Lakers as Connor Kiernan was down in the crease. Now Gilray in transition off to Courier. That gets stopped by Hutchcraft, and the rebound picked up by Michael White.
That's a big save from Hutchcraft, kicking out that leg.
Stevens in transition over the top off the post, trying to find his own rebound, but it gets picked up by Blake Gibson McDonald. McDonald gets Tate Katoni off the bench. Eli McLaughlin as well. White on defense gets screened, and Hogarth picks up on the near side. Now it's Milligan. Back to Hogarth. Cross floor, Tate Catoni fires off the floor and into the protective meshing, so it's Brooklyn ball. Just over 10 minutes gone in period number 1, 3-2 Peterborough. Brooklyn scored the first goal and the last goal in this one so far. Peterborough with the 3 in the middle. That gives them a 1-goal advantage. Connor Kiernan off to Wesley. Pass in front of the net for Osborne. Ping pongs right to Matt Gilray, and he's away in transition. Has Withers with him. Gets popped out of his cradle. And Wesley able to track it down in his own end, but a battle for it on the end boards ensues. Wesley able to grab it again after Withers lost his stick, but able to find it again. A little bit of acrobats being done there, almost like a batonist.
You'll see stuff like that from Withers throughout this entire game, I'm sure. The stuff he does without the ball is just spectacular. He's one of the most valuable pieces of this Lakers team.
Tanner Cook works this one off. Behind the back pass for Osborne, picked up off the end boards. Kyle Waters couldn't find it in front of the net, and the shot clock will hit 0, so it's Peterborough ball.
Great defense there by Peterborough, keeping Brooklyn to the outside. They didn't get a shot during that entire possession, as Holden Catoni will go down for the Lakers. He'll bring things up, wearing that number 99. You don't see that too often in lacrosse. I don't know if anyone else has the 99.
Not that I've seen. Holden Catoni scores. At 99 working well. He's got 2 in the first period, and it's 4-2 Lakers. And we'll see at least one penalty at the end of this one. But the Lakers regain that 2-goal advantage.
Well, Lakers fans have seen this all too often. Holden Catoni unloading that cannon from the left side shooter position. This time, it's a little bit of an isolation play. I don't think it was a set play. It was just the way Catoni ended up. And then he unloads. Still didn't get everything behind it. He's got more behind that shot, believe it or not. When he's coming into the rink, they reinforce the nets for that guy, let me tell you. The hardest shot in the league by far, and now the Lakers are going to go on a power play, and Catoni will quarterback things, looking for another one.
Already 5 goals in the first 3.5 periods of this series. Holden Catoni setting things up as Adam Perrone sitting in the penalty box for Brooklyn. So Peterborough goes to their first power play of the game. Holden Catoni gets it back from Courier behind the back. That shot by McLaughlin gets stopped. Hogarth looking for it in front of the net. Jake Stevens comes away with it. Stevens quickly in transition. Waiting for some help, and will slow things down. 8 minutes to go here in period number 1. Stevens against Armstrong. As Brady Kiernan, fresh off the Brooklyn bench, steps into one. Hutchinson makes the save. And Withers able to pick it up for Peterborough. 75 seconds left in the power play for the Lakers. Eli McLaughlin off to Courier. Holden Catoni. Courier. Catoni. Behind the back pass. McLaughlin's shot gets stopped by Hutchcraft. Courier. Holding it against McKenzie and worked it off to Catoni, who gets it back from McLaughlin. McLaughlin fires a shot. Hutchcraft to save. Take Catoni's shot missed. And McKenzie finds the loose ball. Carter McKenzie keeps it away from Eli McLaughlin and able to kill off some more time here. 18-second differential between power play clock and shot clock. So Peterborough will have but a half possession on the power play. If Brooklyn takes this the full 30, 8 to shoot here for Brooklyn. Towards the net, and Hutchinson makes the save on Kyle Waters. As Tutton brings it up the floor here for the Lakers. 4-2 Peterborough. We have yet to see a power play marker in this one for either team. Lakers on their first man advantage of the game. Milligan works this one off, gets it back up top. Now a pass to the goal line, but that shot gets stopped by Hutchcraft. Loose ball picked up by Jordy Jones-Smith. He has Perrone out of the box on a breakaway. Adam Perrone scores! First of the postseason for Adam Perrone, and he pulls Brooklyn back within one. It's 4-3.
Well, Perrone in the right place at the right time. The final second ticks off his penalty just as Brooklyn picks up this ball. He's just coming out of the box. So the timing couldn't have been better. He takes off, calls for the ball, and buries it in that top corner. And it's a one-goal game.
Sometimes you need those timely breaks to have things go your way. So Brooklyn now surpasses their first period goal total from last night. They were down 6-2 after the opening 20 minutes of play. 4-3 game here at the Iroquois Park Sports Center. On Rogers TV, those of you watching on your TV Peterborough, Jack Moore, Scott Arnold with you. On loan from your TV Peterborough, I should add as well. Be on the call for game number 3. Did a great job last night with Pete Dalladay for game number 1. As that shot gets through, and Mike Robinson scores. An immediate answer for the Lakers, and it's 5-3 Peterborough.
Mike Robinson doing a good job down low, staying outside the crease, towing that line, and finding the back of the net for his postseason goal as a member of the Peterborough Lakers. I don't know if they'll take that ball for him and give it to him for a souvenir. Obviously, he scored during the regular season, but you see him right there at the top of the crease, a defender all over him, and he's still able to get that shot off. And this is what happened last night. Brooklyn would score, get a bit of momentum, and then Peterborough would respond right away and kill any of that momentum that Brooklyn was trying to establish.
Important thing to do when you have a team playing in desperation. The importance of this swing game here in this series. Peterborough can take a 2-0 series lead, or Brooklyn can tie the series at 1. Two vastly different ways that you approach a series for either team. As Peterborough in front, Austin Hazen scores. Second of the postseason for Austin Hazen. And Peterborough takes a 3-goal advantage.
That was just a nice feed. Austin Hazen doing a good job at cutting through, and you see all the work being done at the top, and then Hazen comes in, comes off that little pick that Courier was setting. That created enough of an opening for Hazen to get that shot off. It's 2 in a row for Peterborough.
Back-to-back games in the postseason here with 6 goals in the opening frame, and scoring Brooklyn 12-5 in the first period, and we still have just over 5 minutes to go in the first here. Pass back to center as Jacob Saunders able to hold it in. Draws a penalty as Alex Pace threw him into the boards. So Brooklyn will go to their 3rd power play of the game if they don't score here. 15 to shoot, Hutchcraft on the bench. 6-on-5 for Brooklyn with the penalty pending to Peterborough. Kyle Waters into the corner, Kiernan. Cross floor, Wesley's shot. That gets stopped, and Waters picks up the rebound and gets a fresh shot clock. Waters to Wesley. Wesley finds a shooting lane and rips it wide. Over and back against Brooklyn. And that will send the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club to the power play with Alex Pace going to the penalty box.
An illegal cross-check is the call to Pace, so he'll head off. And Brooklyn down by 3 right now with 4:40 left to go. We'll go to work on the man advantage, and you see right near the Lakers bench at the bottom right there, you see Pace just take his man right out of frame.
0 for 2 on the man advantage so far is Brooklyn. Looking to get their first on the board and trying to climb back within 2. 6-3 Lakers is Pilcher. Off to Cook. Now it's Wesley up top. Cook doesn't find the shooting lane. Wesley into the corner. Connor Kiernan to Cook in front. Couldn't corral it. Hope knocked it free, and away goes Peterborough in transition. Short-handed as Jake Withers finds Hogarth off the bench. Thomas Hogarth gets the screen from Withers, works it back to the boards as he gets checked by McKenzie and spins away. Battle for it in the corner is Jordy Jones-Smith able to knock it free from the cradle. And Adam Peroni comes away with it. But a good job by Hogarth to kill off some time there on the Brooklyn power play in the offensive zone for Peterborough. So Connor Kiernan back to Liam Osborne. Tanner Cook gets it back from Osborne and into the corner for Pilcher. Connor Kiernan gets the screen, finds the shooting lane. Hutchinson makes the save. Loose ball in front of the Peterborough net. Matt Gilray finds it for the Lakers. A stretch pass up the floor for Courier. Out of his reach and knocked down by Mike Byrne. As Connor Kiernan plays it back to Liam Osborne. 30 seconds to go in the power play for Brooklyn. Cook gets it back and finds Osborne. Kyle Waters trying to set the screen. Osborne up top. Now it's Cook. Steps into one. Hope blocked the shot. In some pain. Cook gets it back. He passes down low to the goal line. That one gets stopped by Hutchinson. And Gilray finds the rebound. Robert Hope, who blocked that shot earlier, stretches the floor to Chad Tutton, who used all of his reach to corral that one. And we're back to 5-on-5. Peterborough's penalty kill, 3 for 3 in the early going of this one. Tate Katoni out to Eli McLaughlin. Now into the corner, here's Courier. Courier in front of the net. That one gets knocked loose. And a penalty coming up here to Brooklyn. Jack Travasso's getting called for the high stick. 2:20 to go in the first, and Peterborough goes to their second power play of the game.
And Josh Courier drawing that penalty. He was at the edge of the crease. Couple guys between him and the net. And he decided to go right through, and that effort is what drew the penalty. You see him right at the end, just before he gets that shot off, just soaks up a high stick. Josh Courier, plumber by day. It's likely very busy the last 24 hours in the Peterborough area with all that flash flooding. It's the best thing about lacrosse, or maybe the worst, that everyone works full-time jobs and still has to play lacrosse. Depending how you look at it, I think that's what keeps the character of the game intact and keeps it a blue-collar sport. But I know the players wish that they could have the days off and just be lacrosse players like other pro athletes.
Yeah, I'm sure Josh Courier rolling up to the rink last night was knowing that he was going to have a long day today ahead of him and then having to play another game. But his team up by 3 on the power play again. He passes into the middle for McLaughlin, who couldn't control it, and away goes Brooklyn. Jacob Saunders has Stevens going to the net. That one off the corner boards, and Peterborough will corral it. Brooklyn very aggressive with Peterborough on their own end of the floor, but the Lakers will get it back over center, and Tate Katoni sets up. Courier up top for Holden Katoni. Katoni finds the small shooting lane, and Hutchcraft makes the save. Away goes Byrne in transition. That's the other dangerous part. You talk about how hard that shot is of Holden Katoni. Well, that one, there was 2 guys in front of him, and he still found the shooting lane. So the precision there as well, and that's why he was the leading scorer in Major Series Lacrosse this season.
Yeah, I've never seen anyone shoot the ball quite like Holden Katoni.
Wesley, 7 to shoot on the penalty kill here for Brooklyn as Pilcher fires a shot that goes wide. And the rebound gets corralled by Gibson McDonald. Still 40 seconds left here in the power play for Peterborough. Just under a minute to go in period number 1. Milligan. Holden Katoni gets it back from Courier. Hogarth back to Katoni. Milligan. Courier over the top, he scores, picks the top far corner and gives the Peterborough Lakers a 7-3 lead with 38 seconds to go in the first period, the first power play goal of the game.
Well, after 5 power play goals for the Lakers last night, they get their first here, and you see the passing going around the perimeter, and then Josh Courier, nobody on him, they just leave him out there to shoot, and it's just a textbook classic overhand shot coming from Courier.
First time tonight, the Lakers take a 4-goal advantage. 7-3 with under a minute to go here in the first period. Then McDonald finds it off the face-off and tries to shovel it off to Kiernan, but taken away by Matt Gilray. And with the game clock lower than the shot clock, Peterborough will take a timeout and get the last possession of period number 1 to try and extend this lead to 5 in an opening period quite similar to what we saw last night in game number 1, Scott.
Yeah, and no lead is safe in lacrosse. We know that. Lacrosse is a game of runs. You can score 4 goals pretty easily if you go on the right run, get the bounces, and the Lakers know that. They saw that last night. Brooklyn obviously couldn't complete the comeback, but they were very close. So the Lakers right now, even though they have a 4-goal cushion, they're making a smart move, calling that timeout, hoping for a late period goal. Doesn't matter what sport it is, a late period goal, that sinks you a little bit. You go into the dressing room a little depleted, And so the Lakers, they'll have the goaltender on the bench for the extra attacker. And they'll try to find the back of the net to make this 8-3 before all is said and done. There'll be no ball movement for about 18 seconds. So you're just going to see them standing around killing the clock until there's about 6-7 seconds left. And then whatever set play Coach Tracy Koleski just drew up, that is what we will see down the stretch. But yeah, very similar to yesterday's game. After the first period, it was 6-2.
It was 4-3 at one point in this first period, but then a run of 3 unanswered here for Peterborough. Their second 3-goal run of the opening period. 8 seconds to go, and they'll start to work it around. Courier down to the corner. Holden Catoni up top. He fires, gets through, and misses the net. Brooklyn finds the loose ball and keeps it away from trouble. So the Lakers concede the first goal in period number 1, go on a 3-goal run. It gets to 4-3, and then they make a run to 7-3 to end period number 1 and take that lead into the opening intermission here at the Iroquois Park Sports Center, Scott.
Good first period by both teams, but obviously a little better from the Lakers.
Yeah, the Peterborough Lakers coming out hot in period number 1 and hoping that carries over into the final 40 minutes of this one. We'll have some highlights and analysis of that opening 20 minutes of play coming up after the break. You're watching game number 2 of this Major Series Lacrosse semifinal on Rogers TV. Some young players at the Ontario Lacrosse Festival able to take the floor here after 20 minutes of play at the Iroquois Park Sports Center in Whitby. Game number 2 of this Major Series Lacrosse semifinal. Peterborough up 1-0 in the series. Scott Arnold along with Jack Moore. And Scott, that first period, we mentioned it at the end of the first period, a lot like last night where Peterborough takes a 4-goal advantage into the first intermission. 7-3 right now, the Lakers lead.
It started off exactly like last night, even with that early first-minute goal. Brooklyn coming out last night, scoring in the first 59 seconds. Tonight, it just took them 34 seconds, so it looked like, okay, maybe they're going to take some momentum into this first period. Lakers, they go on a 3-goal run before Brooklyn scores again. Teams trade goals for a little bit before that run from the Lakers near the end, but both sides, I find, are playing pretty good games. It's just the Lakers, they've had a couple more bounces and a couple more breaks than the Brooklyn side.
Drew Hutchinson has really settled in after allowing that opening goal. Sometimes you worry what that's going to do to the mentality of your goaltender, but he's been able to reel it in, settle in the Peterborough net. And Riley Hutchcraft has made some key stops, but he's still allowed 7 goals, and we saw it last night. Landon Kells making 44 saves on 53 Brooklyn shots. Well, Drew Hutchinson is continuing that strong goaltending here for the Lakers in game number 2.
Yeah, and last night, actually, Brooklyn outshot Peterborough 53-44, so it was a bit lopsided in the shot department. Obviously, where it counted on the scoreboard, the Lakers had the 12-9 victory, but both goaltenders getting a good workout in the opening 20 minutes. We saw some great saves from both sides, but putting up 7 goals in the opening 20 minutes, obviously not something you want from your goaltender, but when you've got all those offensive shooters on the Lakers side, you can shut 2 of them down and 5 of them will step up and find goals. That's the tough part when you're trying to contain this Lakers team. There's a reason why they've won 4 national championships in a row and why they are chasing that 5th title. They're trying to become the first team in the history of the CLA to win 5 Man Cups in a row. So every team in this league is trying to play spoiler and knock out the Lakers. So you know Brooklyn is in that room right now, trying to regroup, trying to tell themselves, hey guys, just settle down. 4-goal cushion, 40 minutes left. We've got lots of time here.
Tons of time to come back, and like you said, an embarrassment of riches offensively for Peterborough. 10 combined goals in this opening 20 minutes of play. We don't have time to show you all of them, so let's start with Brooklyn's second goal and work from there. And the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club able to climb back to a 3-2 deficit, but then it was Peterborough taking over after this Brady Kiernan goal.
Well, that was all Tanner Cook. What an unbelievable pass from the corner, and that got Brooklyn going a little bit, and then Holden Catoni, he responds for the Lakers, but it was back and forth action in the middle of that period.
You see both teams going back and forth, and Adam Perrone being benefiting from coming out of the penalty box at the right time. Jordy Jones-Smith finds him down the floor. This made it a 4-3 game, and then that 3-goal run to end the first period went the way of the Peterborough Lakers.
It's Tate Katoni doing a great job getting that play going, dishing it down to Robinson for the finish. And then another one here is Tate Katoni. That's another look on that Robinson goal. Tate Katoni, the younger brother of Holden, showing that he's got some offensive ability as well, developing into quite the player.
Well, those two will also play together in the National Lacrosse League starting again once that season starts up in December with the Philadelphia Wings. Holden Katoni just traded over a week ago to Philadelphia. But you see here that penalty going against Jack Travassos, and that led to our first power play goal of the game. As Cam Milligan works it around. Courier, we had mentioned, plumber by day, and he had that tough day of work in Peterborough. And then you see a save at the end of the first period by Riley Hutchcraft to keep it a 4-goal advantage. But this Peterborough Lakers team coming out strong. And even though Jason Crosby's team scored first last night, and they scored first here tonight, he said at the end of game number 1, we had a slow start, and that's what sunk us in that game last night in game number 1. Well, it feels like they had a bit of a slow start here, and they have some work ahead of them, but they know they can pull it in close if they're able to in periods number 2 and 3. We will get to second period action after the break. You're watching Major Series Lacrosse Playoffs on RogersTV. Teams making their way back onto the floor for the second period. The Peterborough Lakers with a 7-3 lead over the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club in game number 2 of this Major Series Lacrosse semifinal. Jack Moore and Scott Arnold with you on RogersTV. And Peterborough trying to do what Six Nations has done in the other first-round series against the Coburg Kodiaks and try and take a 2-0 series lead, Scott.
Yeah, Six Nations absolutely pounding Coburg in the opening game, 15-3 up in Six Nations. And then last night things shifted to Baltimore just outside of Coburg and a bit closer, 7-5 Six Nations winning last night to take a 2-0 series lead. And we're 20 minutes into this one. The Lakers hoping to take a 2-0 series lead. Big point getters in that opening period. Holden Katoni, he had 2 goals. Josh Courier a goal and 3 assists for the Lakers. Then on the Brooklyn side of things, Brady Kiernan leading the scorers with a goal and an assist.
Getting set for period number 2. Big hill to climb if you're Brooklyn with a 4-goal disadvantage to begin the middle 20 minutes as Robert Hope finds the loose ball off the faceoff and immediately gets swarmed by 3 Brooklyn players. And it is Mike Byrne coming away with it for Brooklyn and working it up the floor for Jacob Saunders. Saunders goes off for a change. On steps Brady Kiernan off to brother Connor. Tanner Cook with it now. Osborne. Back to Cook. Tanner Cook. Being watched by Chad Tutton, works this one off to Osborne. His shot gets stopped by Hutchinson. And Chad Tutton finds the rebound for Peterborough and stretches the floor for Colton Armstrong. So good stop there for Drew Hutchinson in the opening 45 seconds of the period. And as Peterborough gets their first full possession, and Hutchcraft makes the save on the shot from Josh Courier. Rebound picked up by the Lakers, and Holden Katoni will set things up top. Katoni gets the screen from Eli McLaughlin, still being watched closely, but steps away from the defender. Holden Katoni's shot gets stopped, and he's able to find the rebound again. Second consecutive offensive rebound here for the Lakers in the opening minutes of this second period. Eli McLaughlin off to Milligan. McLaughlin up top. His shot kicked away by Hutchcraft. And another offensive rebound for the Lakers. Thomas Hogarth. Goal and 4 assists in game number 1. Tate Katoni steps in, flips it off to Robinson already with 1 in this one. Now it's Katoni again. He fires. Hutchcraft makes the save. And finally, Brooklyn's able to get a defensive rebound with Adam Peroni in transition. Peroni quickly up the floor, off to Wesley, and he can't control it. Now Peroni in front of the net. He knocked it down, and will wait for some of his teammates to come off the bench and set up offensively.
Peroni going to the bench himself now. He's gassed. He was out there for a long time.
Big run up the floor, and then able to get that rebound as Wesley's shot gets stopped. Osborne can't find the rebound, but it's Pilcher picking it up for Brooklyn. Knocked out of his cradle, but Brooklyn able to get it back as Wesley. Into the corner for Connor Kiernan. Kiernan in the middle, down low for Wesley. He shoots, that gets stopped by Hutchinson. Now it's Connor Kiernan, so Brooklyn able to corral a few offensive rebounds of their own. Can they do anything with it is the big question here on this possession as we're approaching 3 minutes into the second period. Osborne to Connor Kiernan. His shot gets stopped by Hutchinson, and he's able to corral it as we have a scrum right in the Peterborough crease. Liam Osborne down on the floor. Jay Thornbert on top of him as the wrestling match went on right at the top of the Peterborough crease. Chad Tutton also getting into it with Luke Pilcher.
Tutton's getting the original penalty, so I don't know if there will be any others, but he got the original penalty right off the hop. And then the wrestling match ensued, and it looks like those guys are going to the bench, so just the one penalty to report of. Chad Tutton, a Curtis, Ontario native, as we take a look at how that all developed.
Chad Tutton took a shot in the back from Pilcher and then responded with a two-handed whack to the midsection. And it was the retaliation that got him the penalty.
He went to the wrong box, though. He just had to walk around and go to the proper one.
Such a different setup here in Whitby as it is to in Peterborough, where you have the benches on the opposite side of the floor.
Yeah, old school for sure.
Makes it interesting in this second period how teams adjust to that long change as well, because Peterborough doesn't have a long change. They have the same distance from their bench to the floor in periods 1, 2, and 3 as Cook's shot gets stopped by Hutchinson. That's at home at the Peterborough Memorial Center. Brooklyn's bench a little bit more traditional to what they have in Peterborough, but it is closer to the center of the floor with the setup there. Jake Withers killing off this penalty, 15 to shoot, just under 90 seconds to go in the power play for Brooklyn. Pass down low, and McLaughlin couldn't corral it. Saunders lost it to Catoni. Holding Catoni. Picks up off the boards. Eli McLaughlin couldn't find it. Shot clock violation against Peterborough, but they kill off a full 30 seconds of Brooklyn's power play. Brooklyn 0 for 3 on the man advantage coming into this power play in period number 2. Connor Kiernan off to Kyle Waters, back to Kiernan. He goes up top, works this one off to Cook. Now quick passing by Brooklyn. They can't get the shot away. Pilcher couldn't reach that pass as Cook, at the end of the shot clock, hit the side of the net. That was right at the end of the shot clock, and that is a shot clock violation against Brooklyn, so it's Peterborough ball.
Yeah, they ended up resetting it there, but referee Hiltz right on the ball. He knew that that should have been expired.
Matt Gilray works it down low. Armstrong scores. Right in transition, short-handed. Colton Armstrong gets his second of the game, and Peterborough extends that lead to 5, 8-3 Lakers.
So you get a missed power play opportunity at one end, and then the Lakers take advantage at the other side of the floor. A short-handed marker. They had 2 shorties last night as special teams continues to play a difference. And this is off the transition, coming back the other way. And Colton Armstrong right on the edge of the crease, doing a good job making sure that stick was visible so he could get that pass.
Face-off win by Peterborough, but taken away by Brooklyn immediately. The end of the power play here as Peroni works it off to Kiernan and goes off for a change. Connor Kiernan telling Carter McKenzie to get to the bench so Cook and Waters can get onto the floor. The Calgary Roughnecks teammates is Kiernan off to Cook. His shot stopped by Hutchinson, and the rebound picked up by Hope, who stretches the floor for Tutton fresh out of the box. On a breakaway, he scores! Like we saw in period number 1 with Brooklyn, in period number 2, it's Peterborough, and Chad Tutton makes it 9-3 Lakers.
Unbelievable how that works out. The exact same goal as you see Tutton pointing down saying thank you for that pass. But again, right place at the right time. The final second ticks off. Tutton realizes that, hangs out at center for a little bit until the Lakers fully gain possession. And as soon as they do, he takes off and calls for that pass.
So not only does Brooklyn start this game 0 for 4 on the power play, Brooklyn now down by 6 with that 9th goal of the game for Peterborough. Again, it was Chad Tutton getting his first of the postseason. Fresh out of the penalty box, and the Lakers with possession and 15 to shoot now off the ensuing faceoff. Tate Katoni keeping it away from Ben McDonald. Katoni works this one off as Robinson fires a shot that gets kicked out by Hutchcraft. Peterborough finds the rebound and slows things down offensively. Holden Katoni gets the screen, fires it in for Robinson, trying to sidestep the defender. Tate Katoni finds it, off to older brother Holden. His shot whistles wide to the net. Hogarth battling for it, but won't be able to corral it as Michael White brings it up the floor for Brooklyn. White off to Kiernan. His shot stopped by Hutchinson, and the rebound picked up by Gilray, who will start in transition immediately. Pass down low for Eli McLaughlin, and he will slow things down here for Peterborough. McLaughlin off to Tate Katoni. Katoni gets the screen from McLaughlin. Pass inside. McLaughlin stopped by Hutchcraft, and the rebound pops out as Saunders works it up for Stevens. Quickly in transition, driving to the net. In behind the Lakers goal, Wesley in front. He steps in and fires a shot wide. That will bounce into the penalty box, and it will be Lakers ball. So Brooklyn can't get anything to go offensively, even with some pretty good looks here in the second period.
Well, that was a big thanks to Chad Tutton doing a great job on defense, keeping Brooklyn to the outside and then finishing that off with a huge hit at the end.
Seven minutes into the second period, 9-3 Lakers. Robinson works this one down low, behind the back shot, misses the net from Austin Hazen, and that starts Carter McKenzie the other way. Carter McKenzie on a breakaway, he scores! Carter McKenzie stops the bleeding and gets Brooklyn back on the board with the transition goal.
That's a tough one for the Lakers. They tried to make a clean line change and send Withers out that back door. And I know there's offense, defense, but this is almost one of those times where you don't go to the bench, just stick with the play and maybe try to chase the guy down. Withers does his best job, but he was already a couple steps behind as Brooklyn taking advantage with a transition goal of their own.
That stops a 5-goal Laker run that dates back to the first period for Peterborough. So 9-4 the score now. Peterborough gets it back in offensive territory. Colton Armstrong with 2 goals in this one, being chased down by Jacob Saunders. Mike Byrne comes away with it. Keeps it out of the crease and brings it up the floor. A penalty coming up here to Peterborough for a hack as Byrne was running up the floor. So Brooklyn will go to their 5th power play of the game. And at this point, Jason Crosby might be thinking of declining the flag and keeping it 5-on-5 as his team's 0 for 4, and Thomas Hogarth is going to the penalty box for Peterborough.
The special teams, we mentioned, a huge factor in that game last night. The Lakers with 5 power play goals, 2 shorties. Brooklyn with 3 shorthanded markers and a power play goal. It's 11 of the 21 goals that were scored in that game coming on special teams. We're just waiting for the goalies to get back into the net after a much-needed water break. And Brooklyn will go to work on the man advantage after scoring their first goal since the 6:20 mark of the first period.
If you're a player or a coach on the Brooklyn bench, it probably felt like a little bit longer than that, too. everything coming up Peterborough in that stretch, but Brooklyn with a chance to get a mini run going here. Their 5th power play of the game. They're 0 for 4 so far. Tanner Cook steps into one. His shot misses high. Kiernan back to Cook. He scores! Tanner Cook makes good on the second chance, and Brooklyn gets their 5th of the game and their first power play marker in 5 attempts.
That one only took 18 seconds of power play time. And Tanner Cook, who we saw make a highlight reel pass in the first period to Kiernan. Well, this time he gets the ball down low, and you see Brooklyn doing a good job plugging up that lane, allowing Tanner Cook to claw in there uncontested. He's fired up after that one.
First goal of the postseason for Tanner Cook, who is held with 2 assists in game number 1. Like you mentioned, had that beautiful assist in the first period. And a guy who is so important offensively at the end of the season for Brooklyn. This Brooklyn team who went 7-1 combined against Coburg and Brampton this year, and that one loss was the first game of the season at the Coburg Community Center against the Kodiaks, but they went 1-7 combined against Peterborough and Six Nations, 1-3 against the Chiefs, and 0-4 in the regular season against this Lakers team. So the ability to win games against teams at the bottom of the standings was important to get them into that 3rd place for the playoffs, but the inability to get things done against the top teams is why they finished in 3rd.
And that's why the playoffs are so hard. You not only have to beat the Lakers, but you have to assume the Chiefs are making it to the finals past Coburg, and you have to beat 2 solid teams that you struggled with all season long. That has to get in your head if you're a Brooklyn player.
Gets a little bit frustrating when you go 7-1 against half the league and 1-7 against the other half, and it feels like you could be right there as Brooklyn goes away in transition. Kiernan scores! Just kept his foot out of the crease. Brooklyn on a 3-goal run of their own. Connor Kiernan gets his 2nd of the game. It's 9-6.
Michael White picking up the assist, taking advantage of his opportunity in the Brooklyn lineup. And then Kiernan having to be aware that he's at the top of the crease. He's running out of real estate. He knows he has to get that shot off. He cuts to the right just 1 step to avoid that crease, jumps up enough to avoid that line. And Brooklyn continuing to roll here in the 2nd.
Pleading his case to the official as well. He was egging him on to say, my foot didn't touch the crease until after that ball went in the net. So Brooklyn gets a 3-goal run of their own. Tate Katoni trying to stop the mini run here for Brooklyn, but Peterborough turns it over, and Ben McDonald up the floor for Brooklyn.
And with that run, Brooklyn now outscoring the Lakers in the middle frame, 3-2.
Connor Kiernan looking for his 3rd of the game. That one hit the crossbar. It might have hit Hutchinson first as that ball takes a weird bounce off the boards and comes back the other way, but because Hutchinson hit it with his mask, it's Brooklyn ball as it went into the Peterborough bench. And Brooklyn turns it over immediately, so away goes Colton Armstrong the other way for Peterborough. That felt like it could have been a good opportunity for Brooklyn to try and pull back within 2. But Armstrong with a good stick finds Holden Katoni. Gets it back from Robinson. Hazen into the corner for Courier. Josh Courier steps in, stopped by Hutchcraft. And Mike Byrne will send it up the floor, but out of the reach of Michael White. So Peterborough will get it right back.
That's a big possession for Peterborough as they try to stop this 3-goal run. 3 goals from Brooklyn in 2 minutes and 9 seconds. We said it's a game of runs.
How long can this Brooklyn one last, and can Peterborough go on one of their own? And Brooklyn takes this one away in their own zone. Jacob Saunders up the floor with an open shooting lane off to Waters. That one gets stopped by Hutchinson. Waters trying to get the monkey off his back of not scoring so far in the playoffs.
Yeah, he wasn't able to get everything on that shot. He's shaking his head in frustration on the bench right now.
Sometimes you just get in that run of not being able to score no matter how hard you try. Tate Katoni off to older brother Holden with 5 to shoot for Peterborough. Hogarth's shot, that gets kicked out by Hutchcraft, and the rebound crowd by Ben McDonald. Just under 8.5 to go in the middle frame. 9-6 Peterborough. They made it 9-3 earlier in the period after being up 7-3 after 20 minutes of play. Now Cook fires a shot off the post. Able to trap it down before it hits center floor and regroup for Brooklyn. Wesley flips it off to Kyle Waters. Waters back for Cook. He gets bumped by Whitty. Now it's Waters. Works that one off. Pilcher's shot misses the net. Race for it as Pilcher picks it up against Jay Thornburg, and Pilcher walks down with 8 to shoot. Luke Pilcher, Tanner Cook, Liam Osborne lost it into the corner, and that's going to be a shot clock violation against Brooklyn. That swarming Peterborough defense getting it done on that Brooklyn possession.
Yeah, Peterborough keeping Brooklyn to the outside, not allowing anything to get towards their net.
Mike Robinson off to the boards for Holden Katoni. Tate comes off the bench. Hazen works this one off. Now it's Holden Katoni out in front. Tate Katoni couldn't find it. Hazen couldn't track it down as Josh Taguri brings it over center, and Brooklyn will look to turn on the offense on a 3-goal run here in period number 2. Kyle Waters off to Wesley. Tanner Cook back off to the boards as he gets it back in front of the net and missed. Now Blake Gibson McDonald going away in transition. Eli McLaughlin fresh off the bench as Gibson McDonald goes off for a change. Thomas Hogarth back to McLaughlin. Robinson fresh off the bench. Courier 15 to shoot for Peterborough. Off to Holden Katoni. His shot gets stopped by Hutchcraft. A battle for the rebound in front of the net. That gets tossed into the third row. And it looks like a penalty coming up here against Brooklyn. So Peterborough will be going to their third power play of the game. They're 1 for 2.
And Brooklyn getting a little aggressive on the defense. And heading off to the box will be Jacob Saunders. Referee was right there to make the call. Look on the right side of your screen. There's the hack. No hesitation from referee Hiltz putting his arm up. And the Lakers get an opportunity to try and stop the bleeding. That 3-goal run from Brooklyn. As Chad Tutton pointing at something with the referee. And now they're walking down towards the Brooklyn net, or the Peterborough net, pardon me.
Well, we mentioned earlier in the period the difference in changes between the Peterborough Memorial Center and Iroquois Park Sports Center.
Yeah,
but also
like
the difference in surface is something else to have as a little bit of a factor in this series.
Exactly, that's a huge thing, and that's what they're feeling right now. They're feeling across the floor. Tutton thought he felt some wet spots, so he walked down and tried to show the ref. Nobody comes out to do anything. Sometimes we see a towel or something come out, so referee and Tutton obviously deemed it would be safe, but carpet and cement certainly a lot different.
You have that in the other series as well. Coburg playing on a cement surface. Six Nations playing on a carpet surface like Peterborough does. Peterborough started this season with a cement surface before getting the new carpet in at the Peterborough Memorial Center. Courier's quick passing and Tate Katoni just missed. Now up the floor, Carter McKenzie couldn't find it, but the loose ball picked up by Mike Byrne. So a near miss, or a just miss by Tate Katoni, and Brooklyn able to kill off some time here with Peterborough on the power play. Brady Kiernan out there with brother Connor, Tanner Cook, and Liam Osborne as well. Down a man here for the next minute, 10 seconds. Cook, the end of the shot clock, kicked out by Hutchinson. And Peterborough able to find the loose ball. Holden Katoni will bring it up the floor as he quarterbacks this power play.
Kiernan just went down awkwardly behind the play as well in that same spot that Tutton was trying to show the referee. He just limped off, and he tapped the floor with his stick right where Tutton was trying to show the ref. So we'll keep an eye on that spot.
Milligan's shot gets stopped by Hutchcraft. He'll stretch it down the floor for Jake Stevens. Stevens being watched by Thornburg, steps to the net, and that one gets stopped by Hutchinson as Stevens went hard into the end boards, and the rebound picked up by Michael Grace. So a good chance there, and that's why Riley Hutchcraft had 9 assists this season with that stretch play for Jake Stevens, who made a nice play to the Peterborough net but couldn't get it to go, and he goes off for a change after that hard collision into the end boards. Pilcher throws Robert Hope down to the floor. Gibson McDonald takes exception, and as his captain got knocked down, and he'll go at Kyle Waters as well with Pilcher still down on the floor.
You can't do that to the captain and not expect some retribution.
Jake Withers and Tanner Cook now right at each other's throats. Withers
is tough. He's a former wrestler. He was an Ontario champion in wrestling. That's why he's so good in the face-off dot, because it's almost a wrestling match in there. But when his gloves come off, he's got bear paws. Some of the biggest hands, and he can throw bombs. Tanner Cook, obviously a tough customer as well. Cooler heads will prevail.
So Pilcher going off to the penalty box.
Withers talking to the Brooklyn bench right now.
And when you just look at the sheer size advantage, Tanner Cook, not a small guy, it's 6'4", weighing in at about 225 pounds, and this is where you see it. Pilcher on the screen on Hope. Gibson McDonald took exception with his captain going down to the floor, and that ensued the craziness in the Peterborough zone as we work on what's happening.
4:38 left to go, and Blake Gibson McDonald heading to the box, which makes me think he got a 5 or a 10 on that play. Robert Hope over there waiting to hear from the referee. They're saying a 5 and a 2. So a 5 going to the Lakers, a 2 going to Brooklyn. So it'll be some 4-on-4 action for a bit before we see that power play. But with only 4:38 left to go in the period, no sense for Gibson McDonald to be sitting in that penalty box. So he headed off to the room.
Jake Stevens, who's in the Brooklyn penalty box, just ran down the tunnel at the far end to throw some stuff up into a garbage can. And it looks like he's making his way down that tunnel for a 3rd time, as they're still working it out at the penalty box. Chad Tutton and Tanner Cook having a conversation with one of the referees. But we haven't seen too many of those big scrums after whistles. But again, when you play each other for a 4th consecutive time and could play each other 9 consecutive games, there's some emotion that carries over game to game, and you see something like this happen.
And there's some big rivalries between these two teams. There's a lot of history. For anyone who knows the hockey side, the Petes and the Generals, this is very similar in terms of the rivalry. When you're growing up, we always played against Whitby, Peterborough growing up. That was the rivalry all the way through junior. And then when you get to senior, it turns into the Brooklyn team. So all the Whitby guys play for Brooklyn. So that rivalry is just a 25-year plus rivalry. Guys that you play against from 6 years old all the way up until your final game of your life. So it certainly does get intense after a while. And sometimes in a playoff series, it takes a few games for the intensity to happen. We'll keep an eye on things, and I don't think we'll see any scraps or anything at this point. Just the way the game is, 9-6 right now as we see the penalties. 5 minutes up on the board on the Lakers side. 2 on the Brooklyn side, just as we suspected, as they're waiting to send somebody over to the box. It'll be Cam Milligan serving that penalty on the Peterborough side.
So Jake Stevens will get the restart here for Brooklyn. And then Robert Hope ran onto the floor at the end of the play. Tutton takes a swipe at Stevens.
And Brooklyn yelling too many men as soon as Hope crossed, and Hope's trying to point.
Well, it's interesting because they have 2 penalties up on the board for Brooklyn. The original one with just 10 seconds left, and then the fresh 2 minutes, the 5 minutes against Gibson McDonald. But they did say it was 4-on-4. Now they're calling for 4-on-3. So it is Brooklyn with just 3 men on the floor, Peterborough with 4. And they have to hold the clock for 6 seconds because they ran it.
That's why Hope came out on the floor.
There was a match penalty against Gibson McDonald. And we're 4-on-4 for the next minute 44 before Brooklyn gets a 3-minute power play. Brooklyn working it around. Connor Kiernan hits the crossbar. He says it went in, and they call it no goal. Referee right on the goal line. Fans behind the net thought it went in as well. Tanner Cook, he steps in and misses the net as that one will go over and back against Brooklyn and be Peterborough ball. Gavin Prout with his hands in the air from the Brooklyn bench, asking why that one didn't count.
Yeah, Brooklyn thought they had one there, and the reverse happened to them last night. Austin Hazen scored a goal for Peterborough that did not cross the line. As we take a look at that last one, tough to tell from here, but I know Brooklyn was frustrated at the Lakers goal that counted last night that clearly did not go in, so they're hoping that one would go their way.
Now they think they scored one that wasn't called a goal. Brooklyn gets possession back after Holden Katoni missed the net. And Tanner Cook will hold for Brooklyn. Cook on the sidewall. Steps in, being watched by Hope. Cook into the middle. He fires. That gets stopped by Hutchinson. And the rebound corralled by Peterborough and worked up the floor for Jake Withers. 35 seconds to go and 4-on-4 before a 3-minute Brooklyn power play for the match penalty against Gibson McDonald. Eli McLaughlin up top for Peterborough. Off to Mike Robinson. Now cross floor for Austin Hazen. That one hit the post. Then McDonald up the floor, and Brooklyn 10 seconds away from the power play, so Jason Crosby telling his team to slow things down. Connor Kiernan off to Sean Wesley. Tanner Cook. 3-minute Brooklyn power play starts now. Wesley playing pitch and catch with Tanner Cook. 10 to shoot for Brooklyn. Wesley down low. Now Cook fires a shot. That gets stopped by Hutchinson. Brady Kiernan took a shot after the play. Rebound picked up by Brooklyn. And Kyle Waters able to slow things down on the shot clock reset for Brooklyn. Waters down low. Gets it back up top. Now it's Tanner Cook firing, and he scores! Make it a 4-goal run for Brooklyn on Tanner Cook's second of the game. 9-7 as another scrum happens after the whistle.
Well, it took 8 minutes and 30 seconds for a goal to be scored, as it was a goaltending duel for a little bit after Brooklyn had scored 3 goals in 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Looked like the floodgates might open up a little bit, but turned into a defensive battle, and then finally Brooklyn able to stop that as Tanner Cook finds the back of the net, left at the side of the crease, and you can't leave the big man alone like that. He's got 2 goals and 3 points in this one.
Fourth goal of the second period here for Brooklyn to Peterborough's 2. But it was a 7-3 lead after 20 minutes of play for the Lakers, as Withers trying to keep it away from Brooklyn, but it finally pops loose after some good work by Withers, and Connor Kiernan will get it at the offensive end of the floor for Brooklyn. Brooklyn getting their power play unit onto the floor is Connor Kiernan. Off for Brother Brady. Now it's Tanner Cook. Connor Kiernan behind the back pass. Wesley steps in, stopped by Hutchinson, and the rebound picked up by Peterborough. 1:25 to go in period number 2. 9-7 lead for the Lakers. Holden Katoni. That 5-minute major against Peterborough. So Brooklyn can score a few times if they're able to. Courier fires a shot. That one missed the net. Rebound picked up by Tate Katoni in front of the net for Hogarth, but couldn't corral it. And Tanner Cook picks it up off the sidewall. Under a minute to go here in period number 2. Much better period for Brooklyn. Still down by 2 here.
Well, this is similar to the third period that Brooklyn played last night, controlling the pace, and same score too, 4-2 in that third period last night, and that's what it is here in the second.
Connor Kiernan steps in, shouldered away by Hutchinson. Good reflex there from the Peterborough goaltender, and away goes Matt Gilray in transition. He has Colton Armstrong, who has 2 goals in this one. Armstrong couldn't find the loose ball as it was worked over to him by Gilray. Shot clock is more than the game clock, so Brooklyn will get the last possession of period number 2 as they call timeout as they cross mid-floor.
Well, missed opportunity for Peterborough, a 2-on-1, and they were unable to convert. It would have been a shorthanded marker, but they couldn't even get a shot off. And then Brooklyn able to get possession just moments later. They're going to call the timeout, and it'll be Gavin Prout at the side of the bench. He's got the offense rolled in. There'll be 6 players for Brooklyn out on the floor. Goaltender will be on the bench as the game clock is under the shot clock right now, so Brooklyn knows that unless they give up the ball, Peterborough will not get possession for the rest of this period. So we'll see similar to that first period. Brooklyn will hang on to the ball until about the 6 or 7 second mark. And then from there, whatever the legend Gavin Prout just drew up is what we will see.
Game earlier in the season for Brooklyn, they were at Six Nations. End of the second period, they got the ball with the game clock lower than the shot clock. Jason Crosby didn't call timeout, turned the ball over. They were down, Six Nations went down and scored. So Six Nations was up by 2 going into the third, and Brooklyn lost by 1. And Jason Crosby said after the game, "That's on me. I should have called timeout at the end of the second period." So trying to get that to work in his favor here in this one.
And you can see him, he's on the bench. He's feeling it right now. He knows his team wants to go into this break down by 1, but doing a good job clawing their way back into it in this second period, making it a game.
15 seconds to go in the second. 9-7 lead for Peterborough. Brooklyn on the power play and with last possession as well. Tanner Cook. 6 seconds to go. Here's Kiernan. Cross floor. Connor Kiernan. Waters got stopped by Hutchinson, and the rebound picked up by Peterborough. And that ends period number 2. So Kyle Waters tried to snap the goalless streak in the first 5 periods of this playoff series. But Brooklyn with an impressive second period to pull themselves back within 2 after being down by 4 after 20 minutes of play, and still have 22 seconds of power play time to begin the third.
Brooklyn has to be happy with that middle period. Lakers, on the other hand, they're going to want to regroup during the break.
Well, this third period, if the first 2 are any indication, should be a fun one with lots of fireworks for both these teams. 9-7, the Peterborough Lakers lead the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club through 40 minutes of play. We have highlights and analysis coming up after the break. You're watching Major Series Lacrosse Playoffs on Rogers TV. Through 40 minutes of play here at the Iroquois Park Sports Center as the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club trailing the Peterborough Lakers 9-7 through the opening 2 periods of play. Jack Moore, Scott Arnold with you on Rogers TV for game number 2 of this series. Peterborough holds a 1-0 series lead. The first period we saw a big advantage for Peterborough. The second period, a slight advantage for Brooklyn, and they've made this a contest heading into the third and still have 22 seconds of power play time to begin period number 3 as well, Scott.
Well, that second period was a battle. I wouldn't say Brooklyn took control there. 3 of their goals in that 3-goal run were within 2 minutes and 9 seconds. So you take that away, the rest of the period, 18 minutes, was back and forth. It was a goaltender's duel, both sides making some fantastic stops. We saw some good offense, but it was the defense that was the big difference. We didn't see anyone get in tight on the Brooklyn side for the longest time, with the exception of that 3-goal run. And then on the other end of things as well, Peterborough was trying to get through the lane, and they couldn't find any openings.
And we're starting to see the physicality picking up a little bit more. The scrums after the whistle become a little bit more frequent as these teams play each other more and more in this series. And for Brooklyn, again, we mentioned it in that second period, big swing game here. The difference between being down 0-2 and tied at 1 could be everything in this series against Peterborough.
It is for sure, and we talked about this rivalry. There is a lot of history between these two teams. Brooklyn came into the league in 1961 as the Brooklyn Hillcrest. They were them for 3 years before turning into the Merchants, and it was that year in 1965 that they first met Peterborough in the postseason. It was a 4-0 sweep for Brooklyn that year. Since then, these teams have met 22 times in the playoffs, with each team winning 11 series apiece. You can't get any more evenly matched than that. In those 22 series, including last night's game, they've played 118 games, 61 wins for Brooklyn, 57 for Peterborough. So again, just on par. Both of these teams are just, we are seeing it again here tonight. Every single year, doesn't matter where they are in the standings, when they meet, it's always a battle.
They want to go at each other as we take a look at some of those highlights from period number 2. And like we mentioned, Brooklyn was able to get things going offensively a little bit more with 4 goals in that middle frame, and Drew Hutchinson still making some big saves for Peterborough as well. And again, that physicality picking up in the middle frame.
Yeah, this was the rough stuff for sure. And then we did have some lacrosse. There's a look at some of the action as the Lakers finding the back of the net, and it looked like it was going to be their period again. Chad Tutton coming out of the box. Deja vu from what we saw from Brooklyn in that first period. And then Brooklyn goes on that 3-goal run, and that was the difference in that middle frame.
Tanner Cook getting the second chance there. That was the first power play goal of the game for Brooklyn on their 5th attempt. And you see some more rough stuff is Jacob Saunders with a big hat, and then Jake Stevens getting an opportunity on a long stretch pass from Riley Hutchcraft, but being able to put things together a little bit more, like you said, in that 2-minute stretch. And that can be the difference when you get into the lacrosse games of, hey, we have a run to go on and get back into this one, especially heading into the third. And Brooklyn has to feel more confidence in the second intermission than they did in the first.
Yeah, we'll see who is going to control the pace in this third period. It's all going to depend on who plays the full 20 minutes. If there's any lapses like we saw in that second period, if either team can take advantage and go on a 3-4 goal run like we saw Brooklyn in that second period, that's going to be the end of the story. Brooklyn has to come out flying. They need to be consistent through this entire 20 minutes. Their defense needs to stay tight. They need to get the goaltending. They can't revert to how they were in that first period, giving up 7 goals.
Now, we've talked quite a bit about Brooklyn and Peterborough, obviously the game we're covering here tonight, but Coburg and Six Nations on the other side. Six Nations with a big win in game number 1, 15-3, a big statement victory. 7-5 win in game number 2. It was a little bit closer. What does Coburg have to do to get back into that series?
Yeah, and not to take anything away from last night's game, but Six Nations, they were missing a lot of their big guns. So they had a lot of guys out of the lineup, whether that was the weather. I know there was some bad weather coming that way as well. I'm not too sure why the guys missed, to be honest, but Six Nations did not have a full roster, not to take anything away from Coburg. They played a solid game, but moving back to Six Nations for that game 3, it's going to be a different story. I don't think we're going to see the 15-3 run that we saw in game 1, but the Chiefs are going to send a message. They think this is their season. They loaded up, they grabbed some great acquisitions, and 2023, they've told everyone, this is our year. We are spoiling the Lakers party, and they're going to send a message to Coburg, I think, in game 3. That series shouldn't be long.
Like you said in the first intermission, 4 consecutive national championships for the Peterborough Lakers. They're looking for their 5th. Six Nations on the other side, trying to get back into the mix a little bit. Obviously, they bring in Lyle Thompson and a bunch of other big names, and they're up 2-0 in the series. Game 3 goes on Sunday night, which will go at the same time as game number 3 in this series. You'll be on the call with Pete Dalladay on your TV Peterborough. You can watch it here on RogersTV Durham as well. But before we find out what's going to happen in game number 3, we got to finish game number 2. Peterborough leads 9-7 against the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club through 40 minutes of play, and after the break, we have the third and final period. You're watching Major Series Playoff Lacrosse on Rogers TV. Teams making their way back onto the floor for period number 3 of game number 2 of this Major Series Lacrosse playoff semifinal between the Peterborough Lakers and the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club. Peterborough with a 1-0 series lead and a 9-7 lead through 40 minutes of play. The big second period here for Brooklyn got them back into the game, and they're looking to carry that over into the third. And they'll start with 22 seconds of power play time. Jack Moore, Scott Arnold with you. Scott, you're going to call first 3 games of this series, and you've seen these teams quite a lot, not only this year, but in years past. And how do you see these two matching up here for the third?
Well, it's just like how we said during the break there. It's one of those series that it's a rivalry no matter where they finish in the playoffs. Lakers, they've been up 3-0 before. We saw that in 2018. We saw it in 2013. Brooklyn managed to come back and win in 7, so it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility, and Brooklyn knows that as well. Lots of series left in this one. Still a whole period. I mean, we could be going back to Peterborough tied 1-1. The way Brooklyn's playing.
You know, that's what the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club wants, as we're back to 5-on-5. So the Gibson-McDonald 5-minute major yields a goal for Brooklyn. 2 goals on 6 power play attempts here. As Holden Catoni fires a shot that gets kicked out by Hutchcraft. And Brooklyn brings it back up the floor. Kyle Waters sets things up with 15 to shoot. Luke Pilcher fresh off the bench. Now Tanner Cook with 2 in this one. Hutchinson makes the save, and the rebound gets picked up by Eric Schul. Alex Pace over center floor will work it into the corner, and Austin Hazen slows things down. He has a goal in this one. Mike Robinson also has a tally. Spins around, creates some space, finds Hazen. Hazen steps in, kicked out by Hutchcraft. Courier unable to find the rebound right at the crease, but gets it in the corner and gets the shot clock reset in the offensive zone for Peterborough. Eli McLaughlin off to Holden Catoni. Josh Courier steps away from the defender, off to Catoni. Hazen over the top, stopped by Hutchcraft. Rebound pops out, and it gets picked up by Michael White. And he'll bring it up the floor and find Jake Stevens in transition. Tanner Cook keeps it from Liam Osborne. He fires a shot on Hutchinson, tried to create some misdirection there as Osborne pretended like he had it. Oh no, Robert Hope almost put that one into his own net. But Hutchinson ready to go as that one rolled into his crease. Now a chance in front is Hogarth going down to the floor, and that gets sent wide and off the back of the Brooklyn net. So Brooklyn will bring it back up the floor. It's one thing when the other team beats you, but Robert Hope almost put one into his own net, and that could have been disastrous for Peterborough. Brooklyn currently on a 4-goal run dating back to the second period. Connor Kiernan's shot gets stopped by Hutchinson. Rebound picked up by Liam Osborne, and he'll shovel it off to Kyle Waters. Fresh shot clock for Brooklyn. 2:45 into period number 3. Now here's Pilcher. Knocked down by Matt Gilray. Some good defense, and like you said, Scott, during our intermission, nobody able to get it to the front of the net for Brooklyn when they have the possession offensively.
And that pattern continues as the Lakers looking for their first goal in almost 20 minutes. They haven't scored since the 14:51 mark of that second period. 5 minutes into the second period was their last goal.
Tate Catoni was looking for it there, but Carter McKenzie blocked it. Loose ball in front, and Tate Catoni sent it high of the Brooklyn net as he tried to bounce it over the shoulder of Riley Hutchcraft. Adam Perrone brings it over center floor. Brady Kiernan works it off. Sean Wesley being watched by Matt Gilray. Tanner Cook gets the screen from Kiernan. Steps away from Armstrong. 5 seconds to shoot for Brooklyn. Brady Kiernan over the top, he scores! At the end of the shot clock, make it a 5-goal run for Brooklyn, and they're back within 1.
5 unanswered goals for Brooklyn, and it's a 1-goal game. 9-8 as Brooklyn continues the comeback train. You see Tanner Cook on the near side. Good effort to stay with the ball. And then he makes the dish out top, and then just a classic shot as Cook picks up another assist. Kiernan picks up another goal.
Peterborough trying to stop the run here for Brooklyn. It was 9-3 in the second period before Brooklyn went on this 5-goal run to pull them back within one. Hogarth back up top for Holden Catoni. Being watched by Mike Byrne. Now Hogarth fires, he scores! Might have deflected off the stick of Michael White. But once again, Peterborough responding quickly to a Brooklyn goal and now restoring the 2-goal lead.
Yeah, you're not going to see that goal on the highlight reel. Wasn't the prettiest one. We've seen Thomas Hogarth score some really nice ones over the years. This one, he just tries to get on net, hits something on its way towards the net, and that's the break the Lakers needed, as it is almost 20 minutes to the second since their last goal.
4:15 into the third, the time of that one. And a 10-8 lead for the Lakers, trying to take a 2-0 series lead back to the Peterborough Memorial Center on Sunday night. Milligan into the corner for Courier. Back in front for Milligan. He gets taken down, and that's going to be a penalty against Josh Taguri. Milligan stepped in the crease, but Taguri getting called for the penalty, so Peterborough going to their 4th power play of the game. They're 1 for 3.
Holding is the call, so the Lakers, now we're going to see a penalty from Brooklyn from their bench. Someone just got teed up.
I believe it was Jason Crosby, the head coach.
Either way, we're going to see some 5-on-3. Brooklyn just needs to send a man over into the penalty box. I believe that's what referee Hilt signaled. And that is the delay. There goes Peroni to serve the penalty.
So Brooklyn needs to pull a player off the floor, and it's going to be Jacob Saunders. So add some insult to injury. Down by 2, your team going on the penalty kill. And Peterborough with the 2-man advantage here for 2 full minutes. Courier works it off to Holden Catoni. That pass picked off, and away goes Jake Stevens the other way in transition. One-on-one with Matt Gilray. Stevens trying to kill off as much time as possible. Being watched by Pace and Gilray at the offensive end of the floor. It's taken 15 seconds off the shot clock. Able to find it again, and it takes 3 Lakers to knock that ball loose. So Peterborough gets the ball back, but Brooklyn gets some big defensive play there on the penalty kill from Jake Stevens. Hogarth, cross floor. That shot misses the net. Hogarth shovels this one off to Courier. Holden Catoni back to Courier. His shot rattles off the post. Knocks the net loose too. Holden Catoni back to Courier. Fresh shot clock for Peterborough. Hogarth, he scores. Back-to-back goals for Thomas Hogarth. This one a power play marker, and it's 11-8 Lakers.
The Lakers will still be on the power play. Only 5-on-4 as 54 seconds remains on the 1 penalty. Thomas Hogarth with his 2nd in a row, and it's Josh Courier getting things started at the top. He fakes like he's going to come across the floor and maybe shoot from the top. And then as he circles over, the short dish over to Hogarth, who buries it.
Hogarth that time going underneath, changing up the shooting lane. Fools Hutchcraft for the 11th goal of the game for Peterborough. Their 23rd goal of the series so far. Had 12 in game number 1 last night. They won that one 12-9. They have an 11-8 lead with 14 minutes to go in the third here. Courier to Holden Catoni. His pass, and they score. Eli McLaughlin. 3 unanswered for the Lakers. Back-to-back power play markers, and it's a 4-goal lead. 12-8 Peterborough.
Eli McLaughlin getting in on the action. And you see again the nice ball movement starting with Courier on that near side. And then McLaughlin, who had 4 goals last night, grabs his first of the night to go along with an assist that he picked up earlier in the game. 3 unanswered goals from the Lakers in response to a 5 unanswered goal run from Brooklyn.
So not only was that first penalty that Brooklyn took by Josh Taguri costly, but that second penalty to put Peterborough on the 5-on-3 was costly on the unsportsmanlike conduct call from their bench. Tate Katoni. Cross floor, intended for Hogarth, but it gets picked off by Jack Travasso. So Brooklyn trying to go on another run here and stop the 3-goal Peterborough run. Connor Kiernan gets the screen from Waters. Wesley off the bench. As Kiernan goes off to Tanner Cook. Being watched by Whitty is Waters. 9 to shoot for Brooklyn. Waters up top, he scores! Kyle Waters gets the monkey off his back and scores his first of the postseason. Stops the 3-goal Peterborough run, and it's back to a 3-goal game.
That's a big goal from Waters, who was a little snake-bitten up until that point, looking for his first postseason goal after popping 15 goals in 7 regular season games. And you see Cook on the near side. He draws a defender out. That creates that empty lane down the middle, and that's why Waters was able to get the clear shot off. Tanner Cook is playing one of his best games of the season. Joined Brooklyn late in the year. Has been an excellent addition.
Very good in that first game he had with Brooklyn. And then almost took his foot off the gas. Of course, we saw Zach Kerrigan have a hot start to the season for Brooklyn, and then started to cool down as the season went on. But Tanner Cook stepping up here, and again, we mentioned off the top of the show, as Eli McLaughlin steps in, that gets stopped by Hutchcraft. And it's going to be Brooklyn ball. We talked about off the top, just a combined 2 assists for Tanner Cook and Kyle Waters, who drive the offense with the Kiernan brothers for Brooklyn. And that was in game number 1. They needed more from them here tonight. Well, they've gotten some offense from them here tonight. And now the question is, can they pull back within this one? They're down 12-9.
Yeah, you not only need to get 3 goals, but you also have to prevent any goals from going in.
Take Katoni down low. Hazen scores right on cue. Peterborough responds, and it's a 4-goal advantage again, 13-9 Lakers.
Now Austin Hazen getting in on the action. He continues to improve as the season goes on. 2 goals and 2 assists for number 8 in this game, and it's Tate Katoni playing the role of the playmaker. He comes down to the middle. He's got 2 options. He can keep driving towards that net, or he can dish it off to the side. And as soon as the 2 defenders came out at the top towards him, he realized somebody must be open if there's 2 guys on me. And he found the open man. And the Lakers continuing to have themselves a 3rd period. It was a 1-goal game just moments ago. And now the Lakers have picked up the pace. 1 Kyle Waters goal in the middle, but other than that, the Lakers on a big run here in the 3rd.
They needed a big response after that middle frame from Brooklyn and killed off the first 22 or the last 22 seconds of the Gibson McDonald penalty, and then have been able to go on a 4-2 run to start this 3rd period and have a 4-goal advantage with under 13 minutes to go. Holden Katoni. As Peterborough gets possession back off the faceoff. Off to Milligan. Josh Courier gets the screen. Now a shot from Robinson goes wide. He finds the rebound off the sideboards. Pass in front gets knocked down, and Mike Byrne able to control it for Brooklyn. He steps away from Robinson. Byrne gets over center with the 2nd to spare. Will be checked into the boards by Hope and turns it over to Colton Armstrong. 2 goals in this one for Colton Armstrong as he spins away from Tanner Cook. Robert Hope setting things up before he heads to the bench. 20 to shoot for Peterborough. Thomas Hogarth up top for Holden Katoni. Now Tate Katoni into the middle as Holden Katoni throws down Jake Stevens. So it's Brooklyn ball on the restart. Ben McDonald. And now we will see a penalty as Holden Katoni being sent to the Peterborough penalty box.
That's a tough penalty to take. Ball was nowhere near where the infraction occurred. As the referee explaining to Katoni why he called that. And Brooklyn will go to work on the man advantage, looking to try and claw back into this one. Still lots of time left. And the way we've seen this game, 3 and 4 goal runs a couple times. Brooklyn could very well get back into this one. We saw them score 3 goals in 2 minutes 9 seconds in the second period.
2 for 6 on the man advantage after starting 0 for 4. Power play goal would be huge here for Brooklyn. Pass cross floor, Waters to Cook. His shot gets blocked by Alex Pace in front. Rebound picked up by Osborne. Cook to Waters. His shot gets deflected in front of the net, and Waters picks up. Cook behind the back. Pilcher's shot gets stopped by Hutchinson. Matt Gilray picks up the rebound for Peterborough. Looking to step away is Brooklyn able to knock it down at center. Connor Kiernan steps in, his shot stopped by Hutchinson. Osborne in front of the net. Battle ensues as the loose ball knocked into the corner by Connor Kiernan. Osborne being thrown away from the front of the net by Chad Tutton. It's Kyle Waters with a minute to go on the power play for Brooklyn. Finds Brady Kiernan. Tanner Cook, low shot gets stopped by Hutchinson through traffic. Cook, cross floor, Waters down low to Kiernan, cross floor to Pilcher, and Hutchinson comes across and makes a big save for Peterborough.
What a recovery from Hutchinson, who was forced to step out of his net and out of the crease to sweep that ball away, and he gets back at his net and makes a huge save.
30 seconds to go in the power play for Brooklyn, 15 to shoot for Peterborough. Trying to kill off the end of this Holden Katoni penalty. Milligan's shot just misses the net. Sorry, Hutchcraft kicked it out. Taguri picks up the rebound anyhow, and it's Brooklyn ball. Wesley. Off to Waters. Now Kiernan. Back to Waters. Wesley. Waters, Kiernan. 10 to shoot for Brooklyn. Tanner Cook's shot stopped by Hutchinson. Hutchinson looking for the loose ball. He finds it. Finds Matt Gilray. Holden Katoni just went to the offensive end of the floor after his penalty expired. We're back to 5-on-5. 2 for 7 on the man advantage for Brooklyn. Holden Katoni. Off to Tate Katoni. Now off to the boards, Courier. Working against McDonald. Courier down low for Hazen. He scores. That's the hat trick and a 5-goal lead for Peterborough with 9 minutes to go in the third. Austin Hazen makes it 14-9 for the Lakers.
5 points on the night for Austin Hazen. The hat trick to go along with 2 assists. And it all starts once again from Josh Courier. Hazen sets the pick. It's a classic pick and roll. Hazen comes off the crease, comes out, and as soon as he rolled off that pick, he was left all alone. A textbook lacrosse play.
Everything coming up Lakers here in the third period. 5-goal advantage restored. Largest lead of the game has been 6. Can Stevens do something about it? His shot gets shouldered away by Hutchinson. He didn't have a good angle on the net. And Thomas Whitty finds the rebound. Colton Armstrong brings it over center floor. Eli McLaughlin. Feels like in this one the floor's just been tipped to the end to our left, Scott.
Yes,
teams go in that direction. Dominated as Hutchcraft makes the save.
Josh Courier looking for a goal. He already has one, but the big story is his assist. 6 assists in the game for Josh Courier.
You mentioned it earlier, the embarrassment of riches offensively. Feels like if you can shut one guy down, 2 more heads grow and they're able to burn you as well. Pass in front for Cook. That one gets stopped as he goes to the ground. Brooklyn able to corral the rebound. Brady Kiernan calls for it to be slowed down by Brooklyn. Under 8 to go here in the third. 14-9 for the Lakers. Tanner Cook misses the net. Goes off the back of the goal. Jay Thornburg battling for the loose ball as Kyle Waters springs it free. Now it's called against Peterborough, so it's going to be Brooklyn ball.
An interference possession call off Schul.
Tanner Cook works this one off to Brady Kiernan. Now Wesley off to Kyle Waters. Trying to back down Alex Pace as he steps to the net. Hutchinson makes this save. And Schul unable to find the rebound, so Kyle Waters gets it back. So Brooklyn able to pick up some offensive rebounds and maintain offensive possession, but can they do anything with it? Tanner Cook works this one off to Pilcher. Off the post! Luke Pilcher beat Hutchinson, but he can't beat Iron. And it stays a 5-goal advantage for Peterborough. Wesley, the shot clock reset for Brooklyn. Gets the screen from Waters. Wesley to Pilcher. Stopped by Hutchinson as he dives through the air. And a penalty coming up here to Eric Schul. As he knocked down Sean Wesley, he gets called for interference, and Brooklyn going to their 8th power play of the game.
Pretty good gap for the Lakers right now with under 7 minutes left to go, but all the pressure is coming from Brooklyn on these last few possessions. Watch 21 White right at the top there. You see a Brooklyn man go down. There's your infraction. Schul knew it right away, no argument. He goes right to the box as the goaltenders go to the benches for a water break. A big power play opportunity for Brooklyn. You have to think they must score on this attempt to keep the comeback train going. Within one, it was 9-8 at one point. Brooklyn was right in there. They're out shooting the Lakers right now, 50-39 as well. So for the second game in a row, leading in the shot department, just not getting enough quality shots. I mean, we've seen some good saves, but it's not like we're seeing highlight reel saves or spectacular ones. It's just Brooklyn has been forced to take all their shots from the outside and bad angles.
2 for 7 on the power play so far. Can the one less defender on the floor open something up here for Brooklyn? Kyle Waters down low for Connor Kiernan. Wesley to Tanner Cook. Back to Wesley. Over the top, and that gets stopped by Hutchinson. High off the boards as Waters gets taken down, and that is going to be Brooklyn ball. Brooklyn was not happy with the non-call, and now Peterborough's not happy with the call.
Lakers arguing referee was right in front of the play. He shrugged it off, and it was the referee away from the play who made the call. That's what frustrated the Lakers, I think.
Tanner Cook down low. Kiernan steps in to the crease, and that's a crease violation against Brooklyn. And we're going to get the floor mopped up where Brady Kiernan went down to the floor. 6:07 to go in the third. 14-9 Peterborough leads. Brooklyn on the power play for another 84 seconds.
That was a good heads-up play by Jake Withers as Kiernan had found his way to the top of the crease, and Withers was able to blast him into the crease to get that whistle. Greg Linton out there drying up the floor. Talked about those wet spots. This is the first one we've seen where they've actually attended to it. Back in the day, this was normal. Every time the whistle blew, somebody like Greg would be out there trying to dry off the spots. I know if anyone's been following this Brooklyn club, you're familiar with that man right there that we're showing. Long-time helper with the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club. I know they love him in there. He's one of those guys who will do anything he's asked from the squad.
Does a great job at it as well. Always so kind to us whenever we ask for a minute of his time before the games. Those are the people that really make this league go. As Peterborough with the possession on the penalty kill. Mike Robinson, 15 to shoot for Peterborough, up by 5. Just under 6 to play. Robinson lines up, that gets stopped by Hutchcraft. A good play defensively by Carter McKenzie to knock it up to himself and start Brooklyn the other way. Connor Kiernan calling for Jake Stevens to get a change, so Liam Osborne can come onto the floor. 10 to shoot for Brooklyn. Kyle Waters, Connor Kiernan gets the double screen. Now a pass in front. Cook's shot hits a body. It was Jake Withers. Peterborough takes over, and Kyle Waters will pick up that loose ball on the near board, so Brooklyn gets possession back.
What a play by Waters to keep that ball.
Has a goal in this one. Looking for some more to try and pull Brooklyn back in. Osborne, Waters. That gets blocked in front. Robert Hope taking the butt end of it. Pass up the floor as Waters able to work it up. Now Brooklyn has a chance as Tanner Cook lost it into the air, and that's a shot clock violation for Brooklyn as Waters was knocked down immediately after catching that ball.
The defense in this game has been phenomenal. We saw a great play from Waters to get the ball, and then he gets checked hard from Robert Hope just moments later.
Eli McLaughlin with a heavy screen. Tate Katoni's shot gets deflected wide. Hogarth off to Courier. Stepping in, off to Hogarth. Thomas Hogarth hit the post. This one bounces into the, no, not into the Brooklyn bench. And that is going to be Peterborough ball as Jacob Saunders was trying to go the other way. Maybe it did go into the bench after hitting Jacob Saunders.
Good opportunity from Thomas Hogarth. Tried a little bit of a change-up shot there.
Holden Katoni. Off to Courier. Low shot stopped by Hutchcraft. Tate Katoni knocked down by Travassos in front of the net. Couldn't get a shot on goal. Michael White will bring it up the floor for Brooklyn. Wesley gets the screen from Kiernan. Wesley over the top, missed the net, off the rafters, and that's going to be Peterborough ball with 3 minutes and 37 seconds to go in the third and a 5-goal Peterborough lead.
That's a tough one for Brooklyn. Lots of time on the shot clock as well when they gave that ball up.
Milligan. Off to Robinson. Gets the screen and works it off to Hogarth. Milligan. Cross floor as Robinson can't get the shot away. Hutchcraft works it off to McDonald. And away goes Adam Peroni up the floor in transition. Peroni, who had a goal fresh out of the penalty box earlier in the first period. Brooklyn with the goal he pulled have 6 on the floor here with 15 to shoot. Down by 5, under 3 to go in the third. Pilcher gets it back. Luke Pilcher off the post, he scores! Referee right on the goal line says it went in. So Brooklyn hits 10 with 2:50 to go in the third and pulls themselves back within 4.
That was a great shot from Pilcher on the outside. Goes into the bottom right corner and then hits a piece of metal at the bottom of the net. And it's able to bounce right back out. Great call from the referee. It happened so quick. The ref in position to see that it did cross behind that goal line. Under 3 minutes left to go. 4-goal lead for the Lakers.
Brooklyn looking for possession here as Colton Armstrong chasing it down the floor. Rolling ball into that far corner and a scrum ensues for it. Neither team has gained possession as it comes free, and Brooklyn finally gets it. This is a situation for Peterborough. You talk about how important Jake Withers is to this team and multiple facets of the game. But having a guy like that on faceoffs with a 4-goal lead late in the third can really be an advantage if the opposing team starts to go on a bit of a run.
It's a huge advantage, especially after goals as well. If Brooklyn scores a goal, you got Withers winning the draw to keep that ball away from them.
Pilcher scores! Back-to-back late in the shot clock. Brooklyn back within 3 with 2:06 to go in the third.
Pilcher with another one. He's got 2 goals and an assist on the night, but none bigger than this last goal. Nice little drop pass back out to him. He's left uncontested. Nobody anywhere near him. We saw him go bottom left corner on his last goal. This time, he goes opposite side into the corner. And that only took 44 seconds. So 2 goals for him in 44 seconds. And that's what Brooklyn needs to do. They've got to score on pretty much every possession now. The way the clock's at, you're down by 3. 2:06 left to go. And here's the face-offs we talk about. So you got momentum right now. Brooklyn has all the momentum. And if Withers wins this draw, well, he takes that away from Brooklyn.
And he does. It's the rolling ball. Nobody able to find it now. Matt Gilray with the break to the net. Stopped by Hutchcraft. McDonald can't find the loose ball, and Gilray comes away with it. Matt Gilray, that long reach and some crafty moves to keep it free. So there's that face-off win, and then Matt Gilray getting it done to maintain possession at the offensive end of the floor.
Now it'll be clock management for the Lakers, so that's how we talked about. Brooklyn pretty much has to score on every possession now.
Defensive rebounds can be huge as Tate Katoni chases this one down to center. Hogarth stopped by Hutchcraft, and the rebound picked up by Saunders. 1:24 to go in the third. Stevens in transition. Off to Pilcher. He's got the last 2 for Brooklyn. Now Tanner Cook works that one off to Connor Kiernan. Back to Cook. He scores! 1:09 to go in the third. 2-goal game. Tanner Cook gets the hat trick.
Tanner Cook, 3 goals and 3 assists as he got everything behind this shot. He makes the dish to the far side, and then he just backs himself up in a good position where he can get a shooting angle, and as soon as he gets that ball, he puts everything behind it. But again, it comes back to face-offs. 1:09 left to go. Each possession's 30 seconds if you kill the entire clock. So if the Lakers win this, eat up the 30-second shot clock, Brooklyn only has 1 more possession coming down, but they need 2 goals. So this is, again, why you need a face-off guy like Withers.
And he wins that one. Gilray again, teaming up with Withers on the face-off, and Brooklyn has to be relentless with the pressure defensively to try and force a turnover. Armstrong. Under a minute to go here in the third. 2-goal advantage for Peterborough. Eli McLaughlin runs around the Brooklyn net and works it back up to center floor for Chad Tutton. Gilray, 5 to shoot here is Colton Armstrong holding, and he'll fire it wide of Hutchcraft, so that's a shot clock violation. So Brooklyn gets the restart with 36 seconds to go, but they'll call timeout.
Yeah, you have to now. You can't hesitate. You can't wait and then hope you get another possession. You got to gas that timeout right now. You need a goal, and then you need to get possession. So even if they score right here, again, you've got to go up against Jake Withers on the face-off. Brooklyn knows that. The Lakers know that. And that's what makes this so difficult right now with it being a 2-goal stretch. Gavin Prout drawing up a play on the Brooklyn side. Goaltender on the bench. There'll be 6 attackers out there as the Lakers getting a defensive play drawn up by Bobby Keast, longtime Lakers assistant coach. He's been with them almost 20 years through all their Mann Cup runs since the turn of the century, beginning in 2004 with their first Mann Cup in 20 years.
Trying to make it 5 in a row, but trying to make it a 2-0 series. That shot by Osborne gets blocked. Connor Kiernan off to Pilcher, gets the screen. That shot gets blocked. Hutchinson finds the rebound. Peterborough trying to run out the clock here in the third. Chad Tutton steps over center floor, and that should all but do it here at the Iroquois Park Sports Center. It's Matt Gilray winding things out with 6 seconds to go. Just not enough time for Brooklyn to complete the comeback. And the Peterborough Lakers take a 2-0 series lead, 14-12, the victory in game number 2. And they head back to the Peterborough Memorial Center on Sunday night with a chance to take a stranglehold on the series on home floor.
Back and forth game. Brooklyn showing some great lacrosse in that middle frame, but then the Lakers coming out for a dominant third period. Neither team able to play a complete 60 minutes. And it was a bit of a scramble down the stretch as the Lakers will go back to Peterborough with the 2-0 lead.
Jason Crosby said at the end of game 1, it was the slow start that hurt them. Well, it was a 4-goal disadvantage after 20 minutes of play here. 7-3 Peterborough led after the opening period. Brooklyn then outscored them 9-7 the rest of the way in the final 40 minutes, but it wasn't enough for a Game 2 victory, and they now face a 2-0 series deficit, and the dangerous Peterborough Lakers go home with a chance to take a 3-0 lead on Sunday night at 7 o'clock at the Peterborough Memorial Center. Can't make it to the game, you can watch on Your TV Peterborough with our friends Pete Dalladay, Scott Arnold, of course Dan Malta doing a great job producing those games on Your TV.
Check the start time. It is a 7 p.m. start time instead of the regular 8 p.m. start time. So 7 p.m. Game 3 Sunday back in Peterborough.
That's on Your TV. You can watch it right here on Rogers TV Durham as well. We'll be back here at the Iroquois Park Sports Center on Tuesday night for game number 4. 14-12. The Peterborough Lakers take a 2-0 series lead with the Game 2 victory. For Scott Arnold and our phenomenal crew here at Rogers TV Durham, John Green, our producer, and Jack Moore saying good night from Woodview.